Imagine this: a quiet night. Everything feels normal. You go to bed like you always do. You pull the blanket over yourself, close your eyes, and drift into sleep. But what if I told you that some people never wake up the next morning, not because of an accident, not because of an attack, but because of simple bedtime mistakes they repeat every night? This almost happened to me. I am 79 years old, and one night I nearly died in my sleep. No warning, no dramatic moment, just a normal night that almost became my last. And the frightening part is this: the mistake I made that night was something millions of people are doing right now without realizing the danger. A close friend of mine once told me about his neighbor, a healthy man in his 60s. Every night he followed the same routine: heavy dinner, sleeping immediately after, phone in his hand until midnight. One morning, he simply never woke up. Doctors later said something chilling: many deaths during sleep are triggered by habits people repeat before going to bed. Most people think danger happens outside on the road, at work, or during accidents. But sometimes the most dangerous moment of your day is the moment you close your eyes. Tonight, before you go to sleep, you need to hear this, because in this video, I'm going to share 8 common bedtime mistakes that almost cost me my life at the age of 79. And the truth is, many people watching this video are probably doing at least one of them every single night. If you care about your health, if you want to protect your life, and if you want to make sure you wake up tomorrow morning, then stay with me until the end. And before we begin, like this video and subscribe to the channel, because sometimes the smallest piece of information can save a life, maybe even yours. Now, let's begin. 1. Sleeping immediately after a heavy dinner. For many years, I had a habit that seemed completely normal, something millions of people do every single night without thinking twice about it. I would eat a heavy dinner late in the evening, feel that comforting sense of fullness, and within minutes I would head straight to bed. At the time, it felt harmless. In fact, it even felt relaxing. A full stomach, a warm bed, and the quiet of the night, it seemed like the perfect way to end the day. But what I didn't realize was that this simple routine was quietly putting enormous pressure on my body. And one night, it nearly cost me my life. The problem begins with what happens inside your body after a heavy meal. When you eat a large dinner, especially foods that are oily, spicy, or difficult to digest, your digestive system immediately goes into intense work mode. Your stomach begins producing strong acids to break down the food. Your intestines start processing nutrients, and your entire digestive tract becomes highly active. This process requires energy, blood flow, and coordination between many organs. But when you lie down immediately after eating, you are sending your body a confusing signal. Sleep tells your body to slow down, while digestion demands that it work harder. This conflict creates stress inside your system that most people never feel directly, but it is happening every single time. One of the most common consequences of this habit is acid reflux. When you lie flat after a heavy meal, stomach acid can move upward toward the esophagus instead of staying in the stomach where it belongs. This can cause burning sensations in the chest, discomfort in the throat, and sometimes even breathing problems during sleep. Many people wake up at night feeling pressure in their chest and assume it is nothing serious. But in some cases, this pressure can place additional strain on the heart, especially in older adults. The night I almost died started just like any other ordinary evening. I remember eating a large dinner later than usual. I felt extremely full and tired, and instead of giving my body time to digest the food, I went straight to bed. At first, everything seemed normal, but sometime during the night, I woke up with an uncomfortable tightness in my chest. It wasn't sharp pain, just a strange pressure that made it slightly harder to breathe. At the time, I didn't think much about it, but later I realized something frightening. My body had been struggling while I was asleep, trying to manage digestion and rest at the same time. Doctors often explain that nighttime is when the body naturally slows down many of its processes. Heart rate decreases, breathing becomes slower, and the body enters a state of repair and recovery. But when the stomach is still working intensely to digest a heavy meal, the body cannot fully relax. Instead, The heart and digestive system are forced to continue working harder than they should during sleep. Over time, this constant strain can increase the risk of acid reflux, sleep disturbances, and in some cases even heart-related complications. Think about how many people follow this same routine every night. Someone finishes dinner at 10:30 p.m., scrolls on their phone for a few minutes, and by 11 p.m. they are already asleep. It feels normal, but inside the body, a silent struggle begins. The stomach is working overtime, while the rest of the body is trying to shut down for the night. The safest and simplest rule is surprisingly easy to follow. Give your body time to do its job before you sleep. Experts recommend waiting at least 2 to 3 hours after a heavy dinner before lying down. This allows the digestive system to process most of the food while you are still upright, reducing pressure on the stomach and heart. It may sound like a small change, but sometimes the smallest habits have the biggest impact on our health. Your heart works faithfully for you every single day, even while you are sleeping. Giving it a little less stress at night could make a powerful difference in the long run. Because sometimes, the habits that feel the most ordinary are the ones that quietly shape whether we wake up the next morning feeling healthy or struggling in ways we never expected. 2. Sleeping in the wrong position. Most people never give a second thought to the way they sleep. They simply lie down in whatever position feels comfortable and drift off without realizing that something as simple as sleeping posture can quietly influence their breathing, circulation, and even the health of their heart. It sounds surprising, but the position your body stays in for 6 or 7 hours every night can either support your body's recovery or slowly put stress on it while you are completely unaware. For many older adults, one of the most common positions is sleeping flat on the back. It often feels natural because it seems relaxed and effortless, but in some cases, this position can actually make breathing more difficult during sleep. When you lie flat on your back, gravity pulls the tongue and soft tissues in the throat slightly backward. For some people, this partially blocks the airway and makes it harder for air to flow freely into the lungs. Over time, this can lead to a condition called sleep apnea, where breathing repeatedly stops and starts throughout the night. Imagine what that means for a moment. While you are peacefully asleep, your body could be struggling to pull in enough air. Your brain may briefly wake your body again and again just to restart breathing. You may never remember these moments in the morning, but they can happen dozens of times every night. Each pause in breathing places stress on the heart and reduces the oxygen that your body and brain need to function properly. Many people who suffer from this problem wake up feeling strangely tired, even after a full night in bed. Some experience headaches in the morning, dry mouth, or unexplained fatigue throughout the day. They assume it is just part of getting older, but in reality, their body may have spent the entire night quietly fighting to breathe. Doctors often suggest a simple adjustment that can make a remarkable difference: sleeping on your side. In particular, sleeping on the left side is often recommended because it helps keep the airway more open and allows blood to circulate more smoothly through the body. This position reduces pressure on the heart and helps gravity work in your favor rather than against you. It may sound like a small change, but small changes repeated every night can transform the way your body rests and recovers. Sleep should be the time when your body feels safest, when your heart beats calmly and your lungs breathe deeply without effort. Because the truth is, while you are sleeping, your body is still working tirelessly to keep you alive. And sometimes, the difference between peaceful rest and silent struggle is nothing more than the position you choose when you close your eyes. 3. Using your phone in bed. One of the most common habits in today's world happens in the quietest moment of the day, right before sleep. The lights are off, the room is silent, and instead of closing their eyes, many people reach for their phone. They tell themselves it will only be for a few minutes, just one more video, one more message, one more scroll through social media. But those few minutes often turn into an hour or more, and before they realize it, their mind is still wide awake even though their body is desperate for rest. What most people don't realize is that the glowing screen in their hand is sending a powerful signal to the brain. The blue light emitted by phones and other screens tricks the brain into believing that it is still daytime. Normally, as night approaches, the brain releases a hormone called melatonin that tells the body it is time to relax and prepare for sleep. But when the brain sees bright light from a screen, it delays this process. Instead of slowing down, the nervous system stays alert and active, almost as if the day has not ended yet. Imagine trying to fall asleep while your brain still believes it should be awake and working. Your thoughts keep moving. Your mind keeps reacting to every video or message you see, and your body remains in a state of quiet tension. Even if you eventually fall asleep, the quality of that sleep is often shallow and restless. The body never reaches the deep stages of sleep where true recovery and healing happen. I have seen this happen to many people around me. A neighbor of mine once complained that he slept for 7 hours every night but still woke up feeling exhausted. He could not understand why. Later, he admitted that he spent nearly an hour on his phone every night while lying in bed. His brain never had the chance to properly disconnect from the noise of the day. Sleep is supposed to be the moment when your body repairs itself. Your heart rate slows down, your brain clears toxins, your muscles recover, and your entire system resets for the next day. But constant phone use before bed keeps the brain trapped in a cycle of stimulation. Instead of entering a peaceful state of rest, your mind becomes like a machine that refuses to shut down. Over time, this habit can lead to poor sleep quality, chronic fatigue, irritability, and even irregular heart rhythms caused by ongoing stress on the nervous system. It may seem like a harmless nightly routine, but repeated night after night, it quietly drains the body's ability to recover. The solution, fortunately, is simple but powerful. Try placing your phone away at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. Turn off the screen, dim the lights, and allow your mind to slow down naturally. At first, it may feel strange, because the brain has become used to constant stimulation. But slowly, night after night, your body will begin to recognize the signals of rest again. Your breathing will become calmer, your thoughts will settle, and your brain will return to the natural rhythm it was designed to follow. Because sometimes the difference between restless sleep and deep, healing rest is nothing more than the small decision to put the phone down and let the night truly begin. 4. Ignoring nighttime warning signs. One of the most dangerous things people do before going to sleep is something that seems harmless at first. They ignore the small signals their body is trying to send them. Our bodies are incredibly intelligent. Long before a serious problem happens, the body often whispers small warnings: a strange pressure in the chest, a sudden feeling of breathlessness, a heartbeat that feels irregular or heavier than usual. These signals may appear subtle, almost easy to dismiss, and that is exactly why so many people ignore them. Many people tell themselves the same thing: it's nothing, it will go away. They assume it is just fatigue, stress, or something they ate earlier. So they do what feels easiest in that moment. They go to bed and hope that a good night's sleep will fix everything. But sometimes those quiet signals are not random discomforts. Sometimes they are the body's last attempt to get your attention before something far more serious happens. The night I almost died still stays vivid in my memory. Earlier that evening, I remember feeling a strange heaviness in my chest. It wasn't a sharp pain, just a dull pressure that came and went. For a moment I paused and wondered if something was wrong. But like many people, I convinced myself that it was nothing serious. I told myself I was just tired from the day, maybe a little stressed, maybe something I ate. So I ignored it and I went to bed. Later that night, I woke up feeling an uncomfortable tightness spreading across my chest. My breathing felt heavier than usual, as if my body was struggling to keep up. In that moment, a frightening realization crossed my mind. The small warning I felt earlier had not been meaningless. My body had tried to tell me something, and I had chosen not to listen. Doctors often explain that symptoms like chest pressure, unusual shortness of breath, dizziness, or irregular heartbeats can sometimes signal problems related to the heart or breathing system. During the night, when the body slows down and enters deeper stages of sleep, these issues can become more dangerous if they are ignored. What begins as a small signal in the evening can sometimes turn into a serious event while a person is asleep. Think about how often people brush aside these signs. Someone feels a strange flutter in their chest but assumes it is anxiety. Another person feels slightly breathless but blames it on exhaustion. A third person feels pressure in the chest but decides to sleep it off. Most of the time, nothing serious happens. But occasionally, that small signal is the body asking for help. The truth is simple but powerful. Your body speaks for a reason. Every sensation, every discomfort, every unusual feeling is a message. It is the body's way of protecting itself and warning you when something might be wrong. Listening to those signals could mean the difference between taking action early or facing a crisis later. Because sometimes the body does not shout when danger is near. Sometimes it only whispers, and those whispers are meant to keep you alive. 5. Drinking too much alcohol before sleep. Many people have a quiet belief that a little alcohol before bed helps them sleep better. After a long and stressful day, they pour a drink, telling themselves that it will relax their body and calm their mind. For a short moment, it often feels true. Alcohol can make a person feel drowsy, their muscles loosen, and sleep seems to come more quickly. Because of this feeling, many people assume that alcohol is helping them rest. But what most people do not realize is that the sleep alcohol creates is not healthy sleep at all. In fact, it can quietly disrupt some of the most important processes the body performs during the night. When alcohol enters the body, it interferes with the natural sleep cycle. Normally, sleep moves through different stages, including deep sleep and REM sleep, where the brain repairs itself, memories are processed, and the body restores energy. Alcohol interrupts these stages. Instead of entering deep restorative sleep, the brain stays in a lighter and more unstable state. A person may fall asleep faster, but the body never receives the full benefits of real rest. Another hidden danger is the effect alcohol has on breathing. Alcohol relaxes the muscles throughout the body, including the muscles that help keep the airway open. During sleep, this relaxation can cause the airway to narrow, making breathing slower and more difficult. In some cases, breathing can even pause briefly during the night without the person realizing it. Imagine the body trying to rest while quietly struggling for air at the same time. The person sleeping may appear peaceful on the outside, but inside the body, the heart and lungs are working harder than they should. For older adults, this situation can become even more serious. As the body ages, the heart and circulatory system become more sensitive to sudden changes. Alcohol can cause unexpected drops in blood pressure during the night, and it can also disturb the natural rhythm of the heart. When poor breathing combines with unstable blood pressure and irregular heart rhythms, it creates a risky environment for the body while it is supposed to be resting. I remember hearing about a man in his 70s who had developed a habit of drinking every night before bed. He believed it helped him sleep peacefully. But over time, his family noticed that he often woke up feeling exhausted, sometimes with headaches and dizziness. What he thought was a relaxing nightly ritual had actually been preventing his body from getting the deep sleep it desperately needed. The truth is that sleep is not simply about closing your eyes. It is a complex biological process where the brain, heart, and lungs work together to repair the body. Alcohol interferes with this delicate balance. It may bring sleep faster, but it replaces healthy rest with shallow, unstable sleep that places extra strain on the body. The safest choice is to allow the body to enter sleep naturally, without chemical interference. A calm evening routine, dim lighting, and quiet relaxation prepare the brain for true rest far better than alcohol ever could. Because when night falls, your body deserves a kind of sleep that restores and protects it, not one that quietly puts it under pressure while you lie there unaware. 6. Sleeping in a poorly ventilated room. Fresh air is something most people rarely think about. It feels so ordinary that we often assume it will always be there, quietly supporting us without any effort. But when it comes to sleep, the quality of the air in the room can play a far more important role than many people realize. A closed room with little ventilation may seem comfortable and safe, especially during the night, yet it can slowly create an environment where the body does not receive the oxygen it needs to rest properly. When you sleep, your body continues performing many vital functions. Your heart keeps pumping blood, your lungs continue supplying oxygen to every cell, and your brain works through different stages of sleep to repair and restore itself. All of these processes depend heavily on a steady supply of oxygen. But in a room that is tightly closed with poor airflow, the oxygen level can gradually decrease while carbon dioxide slowly increases. You may not notice it happening, but the air becomes heavier and less refreshing as the night goes on. Imagine spending 6 or 7 hours breathing the same stale air over and over again. Your lungs continue working, but the quality of the air they receive is no longer ideal. As oxygen levels drop, the body has to work harder to maintain normal function. Your heart may pump faster to deliver enough oxygen to vital organs, and your brain may struggle to enter the deepest stages of sleep that are necessary for recovery. For younger people, the body may compensate for this stress without obvious symptoms. But for older adults, or for people with heart or breathing conditions, the situation can become much more serious. When the heart is forced to work harder throughout the night just to maintain oxygen supply, it places unnecessary strain on a system that is already delicate. Over time, this can lead to restless sleep, fatigue in the morning, and in some cases even dangerous breathing difficulties during the night. I once heard about an elderly man who always kept his bedroom tightly sealed because he believed it protected him from cold air at night. Every window was closed, and the door remained shut. Over time, he began waking up feeling unusually tired and slightly dizzy in the mornings. At first he blamed age or poor sleep habits, but later he realized something surprising. The room he was sleeping in had almost no airflow. The air had become stale night after night, quietly affecting the way his body rested. The solution, in many cases, is remarkably simple. A slightly open window, a small gap under the door, or proper airflow in the room can allow fresh oxygen to circulate throughout the night. This gentle movement of air helps maintain a healthy balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide, giving your lungs the clean air they need to support your body while you sleep. Sometimes we search for complicated solutions to improve our health, but the truth is that the body often responds best to the simplest changes. A little fresh air, quietly moving through the room, can make the difference between restless sleep and truly restorative rest. Because while you sleep, your body is still fighting to keep every cell alive. And something as simple as the air around you can either support that fight or quietly make it harder. 7. Ignoring hydration before bed. As people grow older, many begin to develop a small nighttime habit that seems logical at first. They avoid drinking water in the evening because they do not want to wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. It feels like a simple way to protect their sleep. But what many people do not realize is that avoiding water completely before bed can quietly create another problem inside the body: dehydration. During the long hours of the night, the human body continues working even while we sleep. The heart keeps pumping blood, the brain keeps regulating vital functions, and every cell continues using water to maintain balance. When the body does not receive enough fluid for several hours, especially overnight, the blood can become slightly thicker. As the blood thickens, circulation slows down, and the heart has to work harder to push that blood through the body's vessels. For a healthy young person, the body may handle this stress without noticeable symptoms. But for older adults, whose hearts have already been working faithfully for decades, even small extra pressure can matter. Imagine a pump that has been running for 70 or 80 years. It still works, but it is not as effortless as it once was. When the blood becomes thicker due to dehydration, the heart must push with more effort to keep circulation flowing smoothly. I once spoke to an elderly neighbor who proudly told me he stopped drinking water after dinner every single night. His reasoning was simple. He wanted uninterrupted sleep. But over time he began waking up with headaches and a strange feeling of fatigue in the morning. He assumed it was just a sign of aging. Later, he learned that mild dehydration during the night could have been contributing to the problem. The goal is not to drink large amounts of water right before bed, because that can indeed disturb sleep. The real key is balance. A moderate amount of water in the evening helps maintain the body's fluid levels without overwhelming the bladder during the night. It is about supporting the body quietly while it performs its work in the background. Think about what happens during those silent nighttime hours. While you are resting, your heart continues beating thousands of times. Your blood travels through miles of vessels, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every organ. None of this work stops simply because you are asleep. In fact, the body depends on those hours of rest to restore itself for the next day. Proper hydration helps keep that entire system running smoothly. When the blood flows easily, the heart does not need to strain as much, and the body can maintain its delicate balance throughout the night. Sometimes the smallest habits can influence the way the body functions in powerful ways. A simple glass of water at the right time can quietly support the heart that works tirelessly for you every single night, even while you are fast asleep. 8. Believing it won't happen to me. Out of all the mistakes people make before going to sleep, the most dangerous one is not physical at all. It is psychological. It is the quiet belief that serious health problems only happen to other people. Many individuals watch stories on the news or hear about someone falling ill suddenly, and their immediate reaction is, "That could never be me." This belief feels comforting, but it can also become incredibly dangerous because it encourages people to ignore risks, dismiss symptoms, and continue unhealthy habits without ever questioning them. Human beings have a natural tendency to assume that tomorrow will be exactly like today. We repeat the same routines night after night without thinking about the long-term effects. If someone feels slightly uncomfortable before bed, they convince themselves it is nothing serious. If they experience unusual fatigue, a strange heartbeat, or difficulty breathing, they tell themselves it will pass by morning. This mindset creates a false sense of safety, where warning signs are pushed aside simply because the mind refuses to imagine that something serious could happen. I used to think the same way for many years. At 79 years old, I believed that I understood my body well enough to recognize when something was truly wrong. Whenever I felt a small discomfort, I would brush it off and tell myself it was just a normal part of aging. After all, I had gone through thousands of nights without any serious problem. Why would one night be any different? But one particular night changed that belief forever. That evening started like any other ordinary night. I followed my usual routine and went to bed assuming that I would wake up the next morning just as I always had. Yet during the night, something felt wrong in a way I had never experienced before. My body felt uneasy, my breathing felt heavier, and for the first time in a long time, a quiet fear entered my mind. In that moment, I realized something deeply unsettling. The body does not care about our assumptions. It does not follow the story we tell ourselves about being safe. That experience forced me to face a truth that many people avoid thinking about. Life is far more fragile than we like to believe. The body can tolerate unhealthy habits for years, even decades, but eventually those habits begin to leave their mark. Every late meal, every ignored symptom, every unhealthy nighttime routine quietly shapes the condition of the body over time. What many people fail to realize is that survival often depends on very small decisions. We imagine that life-changing events only come from dramatic choices, but in reality, it is often the smallest daily habits that determine our health. The simple decision to listen to your body, to adjust a routine, or to take a warning seriously can have a powerful impact over the years. The truth is not meant to create fear, but awareness. When we stop assuming that we are immune to problems, we begin to respect the signals our bodies send us. We become more careful with the habits we repeat every night before sleep. Because sometimes the difference between waking up healthy in the morning and facing a serious problem is not a dramatic event. It is simply the small choices we make in those quiet moments before we close our eyes. As I conclude, tonight, before you go to bed, think about these habits. Because sleep should be the moment when your body heals, not the moment when it silently struggles. If this video helped you, like the video and subscribe to the channel, because the knowledge you learned today might protect your life tomorrow. And remember this, sometimes the difference between waking up in the morning and never opening your eyes again is just one small habit before sleep. Sleep wisely. Your life may depend on it.